Hey guys, this is John Speed from johnspeedbooks.com. That's JON speedbooks.com. And I just want to talk about, we're beginning a whole new series of YouTube videos. I'm going to try to do this on a fairly regular basis, talking about books that are either in my personal collection that are not for sale, or books that I have, paper items, photographs, documents, things like that, paper collectibles, maybe even stamps, talking about their collectability and, just some interesting things that you can look at. This here, I think most everybody knows that I'm a pastor. Right now I'm pastor of missions and evangelism at First Baptist Church of Briar. And this is actually a special item to me for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the subject to me is important. That's Charles Spurgeon. This is probably was a photograph that was given out as a premium for subscribers of the Christian Herald and Signs of Our Times. This would be an evangelical, more or less dispensational periodical that was going out here in the United States out of New York. The address is printed there at the bottom of the photograph, New York 68 Bible House. And so you can see on the photograph, there's a couple of chips at the edges. There's one sort of little, might be an insect hole to the image there on his right shoulder. And let's see if I can show this here. There's a little bit of cracking there on the surface of the photograph, but other than that, it's in pretty nice shape. Spurgeon, I believe, died in 1892, and so this would have been before his death. It's a very, very nice photograph. I really enjoy Spurgeon. I've got quite a few of his books. I don't have the complete set that was reprinted by Pilgrim Publications. Our senior pastor here, Randall Easter, does have that, but I have a few early editions of his books, and like some sets and things like that. So I really am thankful for Spurgeon. At one point, we actually had a book signed by Susanna Spurgeon that we sold to someone through the business. But this is special to me because of the fact I just like Spurgeon's preaching, his sermons, that sort of thing. I'll tell you that this was a gift to me. My uncle was a guy named Craig Ross. He was a used and rare book dealer, mostly a rare book dealer out of Medina, New York. He died in the 1990s. He was a very special guy to me. I had a lot of respect for him. He kind of got me started in the used and rare book business. He used to find some really special things. Well, when I was ordained the first time, I was actually ordained twice to the ministry. That's a whole other story by itself, maybe for another time. But my aunt came to the ordination. My uncle had passed away. My aunt came to the ordination itself as well as to the service afterwards, and she brought this to me as a gift, which really means a lot to me. She's gone now. My Uncle Craig preceded her in death, and while she was going through all the books and documents, she found this, and she kept this, and she gave it to me as a gift for my first ordination. So this thing is very, very special to me. I wouldn't sell it at pretty much any price. Although if I was going to evaluate it with the condition problems and everything, I might sell that for around somewhere between $100 and $200 if I was selling, if I was interested in selling something like this just as a bookseller. Probably close to the $100 mark than the $200 mark. It is an original photograph, and as I say, I think it would probably be given out as a premium to the subscribers of the Christian Herald and Signs of Our Times. Just give you an idea of what the back looks like. It's got some browning there, some light soiling, but I would call that very good condition. And probably from maybe the 1880s, 1890s. So it's very cool. I keep that in. I keep it in this glass frame over here. So that is that. This is another Spurgeon item. This book is very rare. One of the rarest Spurgeon books that there is. The Life and Ministry of Spurgeon, published by Sheldon Blakeman and Company. This one, their biographies of Spurgeon are generally not rare. However, this one is. And the reason why it is, I'll show you the title page. The sketch of the life and ministry of the Reverend C.H. Spurgeon from original documents, including anecdotes and incidents of travel, biographical notices of former pastors, historical sketch of Park Street Chapel, and an outline of Mr. Spurgeon's articles of faith. It is published in New York in 1858. Now, if you know anything about Spurgeon's life, that sends up a flag to you immediately, because of the fact that Spurgeon was pretty young in 1858, and it's pretty unusual to have a biography of a man when I think he was basically 19 or 20 years old when this biography was written. So there is the frontispiece. It's an engraved frontispiece, looks like a steel engraving. That is not a real signature. That is a signature that would have been sort of engraved onto the plate and then printed. That's a common mistake by people who don't really know books. When they pick up an old book like this, they see that and they go, oh, it's signed by Spurgeon. Well, no, that's engraved. That's in the plate. Okay? So, what makes this so unusual is the very first biography of Charles Spurgeon. There were not many of these printed, not likely. This is when he was starting out at Park Street Chapel. He was very young at that point. This is the very first biography of Spurgeon. This is the first American edition. I do not know if there was a British edition of this. I would assume that there was a British edition of this, but you see here what the publishers say. I think number 2 is interesting. Young persons will find an instructive example in these pages that they may imitate with great personal advantage. This is meant to be an encouragement to especially young ministers. Keep in mind that Spurgeon was just getting started. You don't see biographies of guys when they're 19, 20 years old. And so this thing is exceptionally rare. And I think the last time I checked this, I don't believe that there are very many copies in university holdings. That's how you determine a rarity in the book world. You consult the World Cat through OCLC, and you see how many copies are in university holdings. This book, I think there's only 1 or 2 in any university holdings. It's very, very rare. I discussed this book in a private conversation with Ray Rhodes, who wrote the biography of Susanna Spurgeon called Susie. And he's very interested in this book, but sorry, Ray, it's not going anywhere. Putting a price on something like this is kind of difficult. There's not much in the way of damage. There's a little bit of insect damage there. Along the front joint here, you've got some open tearing. I'm going to actually repair that a little bit with glue, with binder's glue, acid-free binder's glue. But other than that, it's in pretty nice shape. There's no inscriptions, which is kind of unusual for books from that time period. You can see there in the corner what I paid for it. I bought this at a bookstore in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. My friend runs the bookstore. I've known her for many years. She actually sold it to me for half of that price. I got it for $10. So that was a steal. Um, I do sleep at night okay. There's some offsetting of the frontispiece to these pages, and you've got some foxing around the frontispiece into the tissue guard, and you've got some offsetting of the image onto the title page and some foxing there. But other than that, that foxing there, the rest of the book is clean. And so I would call it very good condition, even with those flaws. And something like that, I would not take less than $250 for it, and maybe as high as $300. Mainly because it's so rare, and maybe even higher than that. I don't know. I'd have to think that through a little bit. But that is a very rare book. And so, yeah, those are a couple of Charles Spurgeon collectibles that I've got. I'll take you over here and just show you in my office some of the other Spurgeon books that I have. Most of my Spurgeon books I have here on the shelf. There's the book on Susanna Spurgeon by my friend Ray Rhodes. This one's an interesting one for people who collect Spurgeon type stuff. Eric Hayden, My Spurgeon Souvenirs. Hayden, I believe, was the son or grandson of one of the deacons at Metropolitan Tabernacle, the church where Spurgeon preached in London. This one here is an early copy, rebound, but an early edition of lectures to my students. And a set of Spurgeon sermons there. I've got some older Spurgeon books over here as well. Let's see if I can find one. Well, there's a reprint set there. And then where's the other one? Well, somewhere around here. I've got some more Spurgeon sermons from the 1850s. They're quite early. But anyway, you get the idea. That is, that's our first video. And so those are not for sale. Sorry, guys, that's not happening. Maybe my son, after I die, will sell these things off, but they won't be cheap. So that's it for our first video. If you liked it, please hit like, give us a like. Please hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified every time one of these videos comes up, make sure you hit the little bell button there as well. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. JohnSpeedBooks.com, JON speedbooks.com.